Welcome back to Sunrise Daily. It's the last day of the year. You have to have a big smile on your face. Why can't you just... You have to thank God you're alive at this point in time, no matter what the challenges are. Because when there's life, you know what they say, there's hope. So we've got Mr. Lalu joining us this morning. Good morning. Thank you for coming on today.
Good morning. Good to see you guys.
What a year it's been. Good to see you too. What a year it's been. What stands out for you this year, by the way? I know there are a couple of things.
There are several things, but I will, well, we've got to be thankful for all the ups and downs and that we are still standing, even as a nation. But I think, for me, it's the intervention of the Americans in our security situation that stands out to be the most significant event of the year, in my view.
Well, I saw those images, and goodness me, they were gory pictures. I mean, people will have, I think some call it nightmare, others call it bad dream, terrible scenarios. And they said it was about 750 that were decimated with that strike. And having those 16 Tomahawks, that's quite a number.
Yeah.
But then, in terms of how, maybe from this end, government authorities handling of this matter, information dissemination, security agencies going in to give us the real picture, the presidency also responding properly. What's your assessment of the whole picture?
That wasn't done well at all, you know, to the extent that the federal government left Nigerians guessing whether indeed there was a collaboration. You know, it took retired General Antonio Atolagbe on inside sources to explain that actually the NAF, the Air Force, was also involved in what happened during that Tomahawk missiles. Nobody told Nigerians anything. And that kind of information brought some kind of relief that, okay, those who thought that maybe this is something that was forced on us, if you had, you know, our own, you know, troops, our own forces also coordinating, collaborating, and you showed us the evidence, that will increase the level of confidence. So generally, you know, again, it goes back to the poor coordination that the president has tolerated for too long. We didn't have any kind of information from the presidency. The president spoke.
The Minister of Foreign Affairs,
yes,
spoke to us on that matter.
Yeah, you know, yeah.
There was also some information from the Minister of Information as well.
Even before that, there was a statement.
Okay.
There was a statement from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. The Minister of Foreign Affairs then even spoke here on channels, you know, and then the Minister of Information. But my point is that the president, in the U.S., it was President Donald Trump that said this had happened. Our president,
so he led the charge.
Our president has kept quiet. And I'm beginning to wonder, you know, the problem, part of the problem must be about the people who speak to the president and who cancel the president. Somebody needed to have told the president that you can't leave the country without addressing that major event, unprecedented in the history of Nigeria. And then you just left the country, no word, nothing. Up till now, the president has not spoken about that.
I mean, when you say left the country, in fact, we don't know where he is. Let's figure he's in Europe somewhere.
He's in Europe, yeah.
Somewhere in Europe. They don't
maybe France.
Well, we don't know. They don't tell us exactly where he is. But you see, that's the thing about this administration. It gives a lot of room for speculations. We start to ask, where is he? What happened? Is he sick? Is he this? And then all of these rumors come, and then you now start to see the reaction. Oh, it's the enemies of the government that are spreading these rumors. Well, you kept the vacuum there for the Nigerian people to make speculations. Yeah. I want to go back to the strike. You were saying the Nigerian government didn't lead the charge, which is what many people are saying. The presidency didn't lead the charge. Yeah. Do you remember during the Buhari administration where there was one communication about a bombing that was supposed to happen in Borno? And by the time the military got there, every terrorist was wearing a gas mask.
Yeah.
Remember?
Oh, well, yeah.
So is it possible that they were trying to prevent that from happening?
That was, I think that was under Jonathan. It was
under Jonathan's administration.
Yeah.
So is it possible that the fears of a leak will be the reason why no one wants to talk? No. Because that was very shocking. The fact that they came and everybody had a gas mask on.
Of course, you know, that pointed to possible collusion within the security agencies who knew what was going to happen and who had leaked information, you know. But in this case, it's just, we have to begin to put the people who advise the president, we have to begin to put them to task. And maybe we have to start calling their names if they don't feel this guy. You can't have, look, the people around the president or any principal, they are very significant. And you hold that principal a duty to always show him and tell him the things that he doesn't want to hear. You know, but if you have a situation where in the US, President Trump says this is what had happened, we needed to have our own president to also tell us what has happened.
At this rate, are we going to have a New Year's address by the president? Is it 31st?
Oh, because it's going to Europe. Is in Europe?
He's in Europe.
Which you suspect to be France?
We hope that
did he record it before he left?
Pre-recorded message, you know.
Or maybe they're waiting to speak to us on, maybe through that message. Speak to Nigerians on this bombing.
Well, I mean, so there should be a New Year Day message, and it has to talk about that. I mean, come on, it would be terrible
if it doesn't speak about the bombing on the New Year message.
When was the recording done?
Well, I don't know. I just assume.
Do you understand my point? Because it's not long after the strikes happened that he left. So was the recording done on the day of the strikes? Was the recording done on Christmas Day? You see, that's the thing with lack of communication, is that we start to ask too many questions.
Yeah, I mean, and that's my point. That look, some of us have spent a lot of time calling out the president. I think maybe we have to start calling out the people that are around. Who are the people speaking to the president? Is it that the president is not listening? Well, because some of these things are so basic, so elementary.
So that's the next question I'm going to ask. Because, I mean, no matter who advises you, whichever category, whichever stage of life you are in, you also are expected to have some sort of level of, I mean, it's either you take the advice or you don't.
Yeah.
They don't control you. It's not a must that you must follow the advice.
Yeah.
So there's no time in the presidency while you were there where you advise the president and he thinks, no, but I think we have to go this way. Yeah. This is the way it has to be.
Yeah.
So, well, you know, are we going to just leave it on those who advise him?
Well, you know, yeah, of course, it's a balance. And I even think that to the extent that it's the president that was elected, it's the president that holds the highest level of authority. You know, but because of my own experience, you know, and I didn't advise the president, I advised the vice president. You know, there were instances when, you know, when we are in this kind of situation, the vice president will call people. You know, I mean, he doesn't even wait for you. He will call people. You know, it doesn't matter where you are. You know, there's going to be a deliberation, and he's asking, you know, what should we do? What are you guys hearing? What is happening? You know, I mean, that is the kind of way that you also, as a principal, that you ensure that your advisors are up to task. But even if the principal is not doing that, because you are also there, you know, and you are a professional, you know what ought to happen, you need to go and tell the president and say, hey, this is, look, for instance, we had meetings when we were in office, and we had we have what they call the presidential commission team. We met weekly. The vice president was the chair of it. And there were a lot of times we told the president that, look, you have to do press interviews.
The president or the vice president?
No, the president. That you had to do press interviews. You had to be more engaging with the people. He didn't want to hear that. He didn't listen. But we didn't stop telling him that, look, you have to. And we were telling Gaba and Femi, you know, that, look, I mean, Lai Mohammed was there, I was there. You know, the vice president was chairing the meeting. You know, my point is that you have to tell your principal the things he didn't want to hear. Well, you have to tell him.
Well, you were not the cabal, you know. At least based on revelations, recent revelations, that president, he was listening more to the cabal than to you. Is it possible that the same thing is happening here? Because if we start to call out the spokespersons of the president, behind the scenes, they will tell you, we told him.
And well, so that's the point.
Is there a cabal that has stood in the middle, so you can't reach him as a spokesperson?
Well, we have to build our democratic space to the point where those working with the president, we know that we are also going to be calling you out if we don't see the president doing the things that are so elementary, that are so commonsensical. So that you have to explain to us that, no, this is what happened. I mean, so that the president themselves will know that there are options that you cannot take. Look, all the things that are happening now that we don't know, you just wait. We're going to find out. You know, ultimately, people will know whether the president was properly advised or not. So it makes sense to say that if you are the president's advisor on communication, for instance, you should have had a conversation with the president that, okay, Mr. President, you want to travel, that's fine and good, but you can't go until you have spoken to the people. You hold the president that. Mr. Bayo Ononuga, did you do that? Solidarity, did you do that? We need to know. Because that behavior is completely below par. I mean, we know President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is a Democrat. How did he do it that he did not address his own people and then he left the country? You know, when clearly Trump was actively engaging his own people on an unprecedented attack. We need to ask Mr. Onunga, what is your job? Sonny Dari, what is your job if you cannot advise the president properly? And if you did, we need to know.
Yeah, because, I mean, it borders on putting the people first.
Yeah.
If you take the people so seriously, you have to speak to the
You
people.
look,
or else they will assume you don't care about them.
We must build this democracy. We must increase democratic space. If we don't do it, nobody is going to do it for us. It is up to us. It is up to us, and this is the time to do it.
For instance now, many are just finding out, or maybe as the cases progress, there will be more information. The EFCC versus Malami, former Attorney General of the Federation.
Yeah.
People are surprised. What is going on? EFCC says it's an alleged 8.7 billion naira matter. So you just wonder when this amount of money, or what public officials do with the funds. Were you surprised when you heard this?
Well, I was shocked, you know, at the kind of sums of money that was being quoted, you know, and the curious part of me as a journalist, I have questions about some of those data, you know. What kind of property is going to be valued in Kebbi, you know, in that billions? It's Kebbi State. I think whoever did those estimations, you know, overdid it. But what I know about what happened in the Buhari administration, clearly Malami has a lot of questions to answer. Tons. I've not even seen some of them in the charges. I think yesterday's charges were just, you know, a few things. There were more controversial things that Abubakar Malami put his hands to in government.
Such as?
There were times when discussions had to come up, in fact, where people said, that is fraudulent. No, I don't want to go into the details just so, you know, I don't inhibit investigation like I said and the matter is in court. But my point is that I hope that EFCC will take this matter all the way to the end. I hope this is not some kind of political stuff that, okay, well, they said we should go after him. Because the kind of questions under the 8-year regime of Abubakar Malami, you know, in this country is unprecedented. A former Attorney General of the Federation, according to Empowered Diswire yesterday, said he might behave insane. That was a former Attorney General. You know, so the information available about the behavior, the irregularities of Malami's tenure, they are so deep that one hopes that this is not just a theater. One hopes that this matter will be taken to its logical conclusion. It's not that one day they will just tell us, oh, the case fizzles out.
If he joins APC.
If he joins APC. That's my point. That this matter should be done diligently. The only way EFCC can come out clearly on this matter is to ensure that they pursue this matter to its logical conclusion. And whoever are the people doing the estimation, no, come on, we don't need exaggerations.
Well, you don't know. You don't see the interior of the house. You may have gold pillars, you know, in the diamond crusted
those things
chairs.
Make it seem as if you're just trying to ramp it up. You don't need to ramp anything up. Malami put his hand in a lot of controversial things. And it is in the interest of the public that we get to the end of the matter. We don't want to hear...
I mean, his narrative is that this is a political witch hunt. That's his narrative.
And that is the reason why we need to have a
diligent...
I don't think it's political witch hunt. But we have to be able to show, ultimately, that it is not. Because at times, some of these people just say, you know what, I'll just lie low. You know, maybe if I'm involved in political activities, I'll just stop. Maybe they'll leave me. And that has happened over and over again.
Well, he didn't. He was vocal. He said he wanted to. He wants to be in politics. He was really out there.
That's what I'm saying.
So it does feel like some people actually expected this to happen to him.
So I'm saying that I'm hoping
because he wasn't going to do it under the APC. So many people suspected that he was going to be, you know, witch hunted, so to speak. Right. And I think that's the wave he's riding on right now in the narratives about the situation.
So the point is that this has to be done properly, diligently, so that we take away those doubts of whether it's a witch hunt.
So all eyes on EFCC.
Absolutely.
Indeed.
So, and then don't forget the one for in 2025 as well. The former NNDPRA, NUPRC, I beg your pardon, So we haven't heard anything of that matter. Maybe they're still investigating.
Yeah.
But next year when politics starts, maybe they'll sweep it under the...
Yeah, I think I have some information about the
Oh,
ICPC.
fantastic.
I think they are continuing with the investigation.
Great.
Okay.
Based on my own reporting, ICPC has invited, all the people involved, including Alhaji Aliko Dangote, to
give their testimony.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because he was the whistleblower.
Yeah, so we have to encourage the chairman of ICPC to go ahead and finish the job. We need all these things to go to its logical conclusion so that we can set a deterrence. That is how we can begin to build this country if we are serious at all.
What do you expect will happen ahead of this taxation for 2026, the new policy?
Well, I agree that we need to have tax reform in the country. Look, I mean, Temari and Kela, people don't pay taxes in Nigeria. And that is part of the reason why there are no outrages. That is why everybody can sit down and just say, you know what, government is doing their own, I'm doing my own. But when we are compelled, when they go into our pockets and we put our money there...
Don't put that in my pocket.
I think that the level of the demand for accountability, I believe it will go up. And that's what we need. That's what we need. We need our government to be accountable. But if our money is not in there, the chances are not very, very good.
So, of course, we'll have to wait and see how this plays out. But they should be rest assured there'll be a lot more questions. And they shouldn't just travel and think they won't answer us when it comes to tax matter. It's a different matter entirely. Thank you for coming on, and we wish you the best of the rest of the year and the year ahead, 2026.
Happy New Year.
Yes, indeed.